Travis. It's okay. Nobody even knows you're here. Just be a character and you'll be fine. You got this, okay? It's not going to be like last time. Hello, I am Travis Renegade. You may know me from my failed experiment of digital hot air balloons. Yes, we did go under, but we learned a ton. And that's why I'm here today to pitch you on my new startup. Again, my name is Travis Renegade. I did change my name because it used to be Dave Renegade, but I thought Travis had more of a ring to it. Okay, next slide, please. Great. I want to talk to you about something that I think is increasingly important, okay? And that is polygons, okay? Polygons are one of the most important types of shapes. It's kind of an all-encompassing type of shape, and it's actually, we're only using, you know how icebergs, they say that you only see like 10% of an iceberg? We're only using like 10% of the polygon. Most of the other part of the polygon is internal. Therefore, and I hope you're following this, this is a Travis Renegade original, not to be confused with Dave Renegade, not my brother, is me, but no longer my name. Travis Renegade original, this is the polygon, and you're only ever able to use the outside, you know, but what if, imagine an apple. If an apple was a polygon and you only use the outside, you'd have a bunch of apple skins and miss the best part. You know what I mean? I think you understand what I'm saying. Hope that helps. Here we go. Next slide, please. Okay. This is my business partner. This is Renegade Dave, not to be confused with Dave Renegade. Renegade Dave is just kind of a nickname. His regular name is Dave, but he's a bit of a renegade, so he got that nickname. He started this, and I said, give me an example of a polygon while I take your picture, and he pointed to his head. And that's when I had the idea that polygons could be the new brain. What does every startup need? Okay, these are the things that we as a company are looking for. Me, Travis Renegade, and of course my business partner, Renegade Dave. Every startup, first of all, they need a koala bear. Why do they need a koala bear? I think that answer speaks for itself. Koalas are slow. They are sweet. They are smart. You can dominate them intellectually. Therefore, you are the boss. And by you, I mean me. Just ask Renegade Dave, who was fired for insubordination. Okay, the next thing you need after a koala bear is 2,437 liters of room. This is one in Europe. The way that they measure rooms is in liters, because the metrics of their system are just different over there. So after you have your room and a koala bear, you need a place to put what you need is a chimney. That way air can come in. And because koalas like to climb, they prefer more of an up and down kind of entrance than a horizontal. Thank you so much, Ethan. Yes, you do have to have a koala bear. That the chimney helps koalas feel like their natural habitat, because European koalas are known actually as chimney sweeps. If you've seen Mary Poppins, you know what I'm talking about. That's why they're able to live in a room, climb down a chimney, and why we've said liters instead of gallons, because we are talking about European koalas. The last thing you need is a way to get from Europe to wherever your startup is, okay? Explanation of the answer will be given afterwards. Glad that I'm reading that now. Great. The last thing that you need in order to get from Europe to the destination of your startup is a submarine, okay? This is not a full marine, okay? A submarine is a marine that used to be full-time and is now just a submarine. Okay, here we go. Next slide, please. Thank you. This next example is a picture of me before I lost some weight, and this is me giving my own example of a polygon. Okay, and I will admit, I do fully admit that I'm not as good at it as Renegade Dave. But it's the way that he told me that that made me fire him for insubordination. Because I think that this does a good job. You like this? Is this not a polygon to you? Right? You can see what I'm saying. You have to picture the three-dimensional aspect, but my hands can only make 2D shapes, right? What am I supposed to do, a cube? No. You see? So this really is my bet. By having my hands down like this, and again, this is me. You can't recognize me because I forgot how memey this one was. That's fine. Listen, this is exactly as I made it. I wanted memes to be able to connect to all of our future polygoners. That is people that are poly and also gone. Okay, moving on. Next slide, please. Excellent. Okay, now there are two ways to make love to a golf ball. One is with your mouth. Oh my goodness. Wow. I said what I mean. I definitely was not saying something that was a mistake. That was what I meant to say. There are two ways to make love to a golf ball, and I'm going to commit to this. One is with your mouth, and one is with your hands. Oh my God. What I mean by that is it's important to kiss the golf ball, or else it's not a hole in one. Oh my goodness. I did not mean to do any innuendo in this, and I keep digging myself deeper. But hey, that's the Travis Renegade way, right? Renegade Dave was really the one that, not Dave Renegade, that's me, but Renegade Dave is the one that would, of course, it really did turn quick. I gotta say, I thought I'd be able to say regulation depth for golf is 6 inches. Wow. Oh boy. I was going really strong and fast there. And this is like, it's one thing to get into an accident, but now I'm like trying to reverse out because that's the Travis Renegade way. God, I wish Dave Renegade was here. Renegade Dave. Dang it. Dave Renegade is here, but only in my heart. Okay. What would Renegade Dave do to save this? I got it. Golf is a game about polygons, okay? If you think of the stick, that is like a cylindrical polygon connected to like, think of like a rectangular kind of cube, but with rounded edges, and that is your basic golf ball. Now imagine a partially rendered cube where none of the corners have formed yet, but there are a bunch of tiny indentions. That is a golf ball. Hope that helps. Next slide, please. This next slide is going to show you exactly what golf has to do with everything else that I was talking about. As you can see, you do not need the golf ball to make the kissy face. You practice with the golf ball, okay? But look at this. I am just pretending to have a golf ball. Huh? Did that not feel like a polygon? Do you see how we can change the world with this? Okay. And I just want to say that it's actually really cool to start a company and name it. I am now convinced to do business with you. Absolutely. Great. Perfect. I mean, look at this. This is a man who had the audacity to name his company after a man that famously had things stolen from Edison, and of course I'm talking about Tesla, and yet he pulls similar corporate espionage himself. You ever think about that? Again, this is not the opinions of comedian Ian Abramson, even though I think he is very funny. We're going to move on. Oh, thank goodness. I was worried that I left this one out. Now, I'm going to go really quick when I explain all this, so just try to follow along, okay? At the top, we have the blue line, okay? And the blue line intersects with the green line and the red line. The pink line goes through all of them, but really the blue line is the only line that you need to follow. The green line is going to go from the east to the west, but also you have the dark green line going from north to south. So follow the blue line, and if you find yourself on a path that is not blue, you need to get off and flip it around, okay? Get in a car, get in a bike, get in a scooter, ride a horse, whatever you need to do. It's all about following the blue line. Now, there is one point where the blue line converges with the yellow line. That does become the green line, and it is confusing for that little patch of land where the blue and the yellow combine. But you need to make sure to not follow a green path. You will be on the green path for 1 second because yellow converges with blue and that makes green, but You need to get back on the blue path, so look at the path. That is blue, leading off of that. Hope that helps. All right, Charlie, can you explain what I was just saying?
If you combine the blue and the green line, you get a cyan.
Perfect. That's right. Sigh and a haircut. 2 bits. Okay. This is actually a picture of Charlie and I as children. Oh, for what? You want to go back?
When we first started, you said I tuned in, and I heard you say that you wanted me to memorize every little thing that you were going to say.
Yeah, I do. You're ready? Okay, take it away.
Yeah. So something that something
increasingly important, okay? And that is polygons, okay? Polygons are one of the most important types of shapes. It's kind of an all-encompassing.
Are we really doing this?
So far? Am I getting it right so far?
Yeah, so far that was great. That was excellent. Okay, next slide.
Type of shape. And it's actually, we're only using, you know how icebergs, they say that you only see like 10% of an iceberg?
Perfect. Okay, and next slide.
Okay.
We're only using like 10% of the polygon.
And he's pointing at the polygon. That's absolutely right. Okay, perfect.
The other part of the polygon is internal. Therefore, and I hope you're following this. This is a Travis.
Oh yeah.
This Renegade original, not to be confused with Dave Renegade, not my brother.
I'm so glad. It's weird that you're using the first person, original, but I do appreciate it.
Well, it was easier for me to memorize it that way.
I see.
I'm like a parakeet more than I am a functioning human.
Do you mean that biologically? All right.
I don't mean anything biologically, Ian. How dare you?
I think you're very mean biologically. You're a bully. And it's your genetic makeup that makes you one. That's why you're.
I did hear that you got fired for being in some sort of board, some sort of sub for a nation.
No, I was not fired. Okay, I started my own company, and at first, Renegade Dave said he was going to come with me, and then he said I didn't know what a polygon was, and that we couldn't use my mom's money, so he's not in the company anymore. Okay, next slide. We have this one.
Gotcha. Oh, this one was a question. It was about when you got fired. What were you wearing?
I was wearing a space jumpsuit, and my boss was dressed as Ron Burgundy. Yeah.
Oh, and from which job again was this?
This was from a different call center.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we would call people up and fire them, and I was let go from that position.
Did you have to call yourself?
No, but a friend of mine did. Yeah, he was dressed as Ron Burgundy. He called me in, picked up the phone, gave me a call. It was technically through a temp agency, so they connected him to the temp agency. The temp agency called me. They put me on hold as a power move for a couple minutes. Both me and my friend were sitting across from each other. And then finally we were connected, and he said the 2 words no person wants to hear. Okay? Ocean's 13. I said, that's my least favorite of the franchise. And he said, you're fired.
You heard it here, folks. Ian loves Ocean's 8.
I like Ocean's 8 better than 13. That is my actual opinion. But okay, so we have this one. This is actually a picture of Charlie Rohr making a kissy face.
Fuck you. No, you know what? I gotta go. You crossed the line here.
Wow, that was visceral. Okay. All right. And then of course this is where you joined us. Anything to add to this one?
Well, I would like for you now to recap everything I've just said.
Oh, yes, of course. Okay, let me go back to the beginning. Okay, so first, what you have here is you have your next startup, and then you've got like a guy who can hold a box bigger than his weight, so therefore he's probably half ant, but also half uncle. This next one is my friend Dave, who less of a friend, well, actually completely a friend because he's no longer a colleague. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what does every startup need? You need a koala room, you need 247 liters of bear, you need a sub chimney, and you need the Marines. Explanation of the answer will be given afterwards. Create an interactive poll with Slide Lizard. That's a lizard that's cold-blooded. Okay. This we have is me describing the shapes and sizes of the ideal polygon. And then you've got people who are getting inappropriate with golf balls. And then you've got a picture of Charlie Rohr last year. We're inventing a slideshow telephone. That's right. I love slideshow telephones. In fact, it's the best way to, if instead of texting people, sometimes I'll just call them up and I'll recite this. And if they're still on at the end, then life is good. Okay. And then this one was about colors. Okay, next slide. This is a picture of the invention at the end of the day. This is what we're working towards. This is the goal. Now, this is just a mock-up. We don't actually have these made. But as you can see, we have... this is so simple a child can do it. When it is made, it will be so simple a child can do it, okay? Now, what you have is you have a way to... breathe if you are on the left, and a way to listen to breathing if you are on the right. Now, you'll understand that the shape in the middle is, of course, a metaphor. Hope that helps. Okay, moving on. Next slide, please. Excellent. I'll be honest with you all. This slide is inspired from my own life. I am looking for a friend. I had a friend. His name was Renegade Dave. And I went through the entire process of legally changing my name to Travis so that we were easier to differentiate in business meetings. And then before the paperwork even went through, guess who wasn't part of the company? It was me. So I started my own. Renegade Dave came with me, and then I kicked him out. Okay, next slide. If anybody wants to be a friend, hit me up. Okay, here's what I need you to do. Follow my advice, okay? This first one, this advice especially has to do with how you treat the people you go into business with, okay? Do not stop chasing the whimsy. Do you see what I'm saying? Do not, if you never stop chasing something, you can do what it does. As you can see, this cat has learned to fly just like the elderly caterpillar. And now they can both fly. How does a caterpillar learn to fly? It eats until it can. And that's my plan in life. Hope that helps. Okay, now what this product is going to be called is themed. That's what it's, hope that helps.
I'll be your professor, Charlie Rohr.
Charlie Rohr. Understood, Professor.
Yeah. So I hope you guys are ready to learn about math for the first time, because if you know anything about math, you're not allowed in this class. This is an introduction. If I find out that I'm not the person to first introduce you to the concept of math, I'm going to kill you. I'll still maybe give you a passing grade if you can survive the semester, but I'm going to kill you one way or another. So, just saying, if you're casually auditing this class and you didn't read the syllabus, that's on you. Anywho, next slide. Math, it's a pretty important thing. Without math, we would all just be a bunch of dumb fucking babies pooping in our little diapers. This is a visual representation of a world without math. Bliss, ignorance, diversity. This is why we need math. Next slide. If you've ever wondered how to count, then chances are you're already familiar with the concept of math, and I've caught you in a lie. So get the fuck out of here. But if you're a good little student, I would like to tell you how you can count in 3 easy steps.
I am so sorry to interrupt, Professor, but I'm already a little lost. What steps?
You're a little lost?
I'm a little
Like,
lost.
wait, did
You
they
said
make,
that
like, a
you said that there were
miniseries based
easy
on the-
steps, but what
Oh.
what kind of steps are they? How to count in what steps?
In 3
Yeah,
easy
I don't.
steps.
That's a new word for me. Can you explain that?
3? So shit.
Yeah,
hadn't
3.
considered that.
You know, like I don't know. You listen. I made sure I didn't know anything about math before starting this, Professor Charlie Roar.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So
I do not want you to
So-
kill me.
So I think the first thing we're gonna have to do first. Okay, wait. So, okay. What I'll need for you to do is to go to your refrigerator and get 3 apples.
Fuck.
Get an apple. After that, I want you to get an apple. And then after that, I want you to get an apple. Can you do that for me? I'm talking to you, Ian.
Excuse
Folks
me,
have
I
lost
think
Ian.
I think Ian went to go get the apples.
Oh, okay. See,
Okay, I
was done with
have
my
the
instructions.
apples.
Okay, so first I'm gonna need you to take a bite out of one of those apples, and while you're taking that bite, I need you to make this sound. It's actually, you know what? Phonetically it sounds just like the past tense of the word win. Okay, do you know that word? So while you're taking a bite of that apple, I need you to scream that word.
Okay. Which apple do I bite?
Any of them.
Okay. I'll take a bite of the
Do you have
biggest
a
one.
favorite?
I definitely do
Biggest
not have a
apple?
favorite. Okay, so I need to scream the past tense of win.
Yes.
Okay.
Win. W-I-N.
Okay. I always spell it W-H-E-N. No?
I think now you're getting a little philosophical talking about when. We're not winning here. We're mathing here, okay, buddy?
Yeah, what is that again? I'll take a bite.
When?
Okay, so the past tense of win, right?
Of win.
Of win.
Like victory, win.
Win is the victory? Okay, I'm going to take a bite. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Was that good?
Ian, I'm troubled.
Why?
You followed my instructions to the letter. But you
Yeah,
gave yourself away here, buddy.
What do you mean?
You just counted 1, 2, 3.
What do you mean?
I haven't even finished this slide yet.
Oh my god,
We
am I a
haven't even
savant?
gotten to taking off your shirt and growing hair all over your body.
Am I a savant?
We haven't
Did
even
we just
gotten
find
to
out I'm really
listening
good
to
at
all
math?
of your absolute favorite music from high
I
school.
cannot believe I did this and I made sure to count 1, 2, 3 beforehand. I'm going to go mute. You clearly know what you're doing. I feel like you've already taught me everything there is to know.
Well, congratulations. You are now a graduate of counting. Next slide, please. So, first, I would like to talk to you about what numbers can do for you. Next slide. But before we get into all that, I have to establish that numbers can be tricky. They seem pretty simple at first. Numbers seem like a delicious apple. But I don't know. Sometimes numbers can be imaginary. Each number is as unique as a snowflake. If you see this little tree over here, this is a visual representation of every single number known to man. And much like a tree, that number is still growing. The sky is the limit to your imagination when it comes to numbers. but they can sneak up on you and bite your ass if you're not careful, like a tiger. Next slide, please. There are a lot of numbers you can have fun with, though, and that's what I'm most excited to talk about. So, this is why I have such strict rules in my syllabus about not knowing anything about math, is because when we get to this part, people get freaked out. So, I just want to make sure that you have no biases before coming in here,
Of course.
because these numbers can make you a little scared, but they can also make you a little horny or excited. I mean, we're keeping it PG-13 on the stream. I forgot. So if you all just commit to a vow of silence and light some candles, set the mood, we're going to talk about the secret and forbidden numbers. Be sure to lock your doors as well. Next slide, please. So these secret and forbidden numbers, they can help you live a long and healthy life. But you got to commit to the lifestyle, okay? Any number you see, you have to eat it. As you can see from our diagram here, if you see a bunch of numbers throughout the day, or even symbolic representations of numbers, I need you to tear them out of anything that you see, be it nutritional facts on the back of your wheat thins, be it a sticker at the post office, or maybe even a picture in a bodega. I need you to eat all of those numbers and you'll be almost as happy as you can possibly be. Not quite as happy as you could be, but it's pretty great, I gotta say. Next slide, please. So, Euler was a Satan worshiper. We got to get that out of the way. But you know what? You know who loved numbers? Satan. He even has his own. So, I don't know. What does that mean to you? I'm just saying. The fun thing about numbers is sometimes the formulas can even be explicit, which is kind of fun when you're an adult and you're tired of hearing all these childish numbers. It's like, let's get to the explicit numbers. It's like, we're all adults here. Let's talk about it. Next slide, please. So, you might be looking at numbers thinking that there's some sort of hidden code. Like, they just look like a bunch of crazy squiggles, so similar to what you're used to looking at in menus and magazines. But sometimes in those menus, you might notice that there's some confusing letters in there. And those ones, if you just stop and you kind of look closely, you might notice they're actually numbers. And they have their own unique individual meanings. We're not going to get into that today. But, you know, just so you know, they are different. You can even create them both with the same techniques. Just like a little flick of the wrist holding a pen. But believe me, they're different. Next slide, please. So, me personally, not a big fan of math. It's just something I know about because my father, he was math, and I don't know. I tried playing guitar for a while, but that didn't really work out, so I just kind of fell back on the family business, I guess. But, you know, those who can't teach, that's not right. I should be teaching guitar. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go think about some things, but I hope you guys enjoyed learning about math. And you know what? I don't care whether or not you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go follow my dreams.
Today, my name is Whiskey Francisco, and I'm going to tell you how to build a better mousetrap. Because the ones we have right now suck. Next slide. So, in the medieval era, we had all these different mousetraps. They weren't any good because you had to do them yourself, and that meant you had to be proficient in using them, which most people aren't proficient in double-handed orc axes or the net, which is very hard to use even in today's internet era with Google and everything like that. Next slide. Yeah, so this is a picture of me when I was a kid trying to catch mice with my spiky chain thing, and I just completely missed and landed straight in the toilet. It was very embarrassing. I had to get assistance. I had to call them with my soap, which isn't as good as a phone, but technology progresses all the time, which is why we have to build better mousetraps. Next slide. So, sometimes you don't want the mousetrap just to catch the mice. Sometimes you also want to hear them scream. I don't know why, but we polled people. We have a poll. It's not. I forgot to put it in the presentation because it's technically NDA, but people want to hear the mice scream. So we built an Iron Maiden mousetrap. It's the size of a mouse. Next slide. If we put on a movie, would mice watch? They only watch movies with mice, so you need An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, The Rescuers Down Under, Redwall, very popular with young mice. Those are the only ones I remember at the moment. But mice love movies about mice. That's why we keep on making them. They're completely funded by the mouse mass. You know, they're a demographic in the movie market. Next slide. So I've had a lot of questions during all of my interviews, and people weren't. They knew mice. They knew what a mouse looked like, but they weren't sure what it was. So on the right, we have a human being pretending to be a mouse, and then we took all of its bones. On the right, the left, I got my hands mixed up. On the left, this is how mice work. They get heat from the floor, which is why they love carpets and living inside your walls, because there's lots of heat in there from all the pipes and electricity. And then they push all that heat through them, and it goes into the sea, also known as the butt. That travels down the shaft, creates hot vapor, and is expelled out the big ears. And as it's being expelled, it condenses that into a fine liquid. And then that combines with the cold vapor liquid mixture, which is cheese. And that's how it's powered. On the right is a human skeleton, as I mentioned before. Next slide. Now, you're probably wondering, why do we hate mice? This is why we hate mice. Because they can get inside your head. And when they get inside your head, they do stuff to it. They teach you to become interested in the dark arts. And seek out the elder gods. And that does terrible, terrible things to a man. Don't do that. Don't trust the mice. Next slide. Oh, I forgot about Stuart Little. Next slide. All right, we got some quick facts. Our current traps don't work. Have you ever seen a mouse in a trap? If you have, it's a fake mouse. It doesn't work. Does this keep on going? Nope. We just had one fact. All right. So, the opposite end of the scale is the other reason why we need to kill mice is because they've been infiltrating the children's minds for decades as giant cybernetic mice warriors. They pretend to hang out and sell pizza, but the documentary Five Nights at Freddy's really uncovered the diabolicalness of the mousy-born cyborg warriors. Next slide. You should play. Yep. We have a solution. We mentioned that they're entirely powered by cheese and heat. So what if we made cold cheese? Not only would that be delicious, especially when it's big like this, and you could like roll around on it, or maybe like make it a pillow and just like curl up on it and sleep. But also, it'll kill the mice. That'll be part 1 of our 3-stage program for the new mousetrap. Is cold cheese. Next slide. Yeah, look. Just like absorb this information into you right now. Cold cheese. You ain't melting nachos on this thing. Next slide. How do we make it cold? What else is cold? We're gonna use the robots against them. They tried to use robots against us, but we're the ones who invented robots, so obviously we're better at it. We've made tiny robots, even tinier than a mouse. Very tiny. We're gonna put them in the cheese, and that's why it's so cold, is because it's made of metal secretly, but also whatever cheese is made out of. I'm not the cheese scientist, I'm the mouse catching scientist. Next slide. You ever wonder what happened to the man in the yellow hat? No one talks about it. Like, you'd think, out of everybody, Curious George would have been curious about where he went. But that's because Curious George is in on it. Curious George knows, and he won't tell anybody. Next slide. He is in witness protection, so we can't actually chase after him.
Of course.
Which brings us to... hate these little buggers. The Great Green Mouse Disaster. So in 1972, there was a terrible accident in a nuclear power plant in Missouri. And that led to the change. The change is what made them diabolical. Mice up until that point had no intelligence, but then they spread. Their paragons, the green mice, are still active to this day. Their lives elongated by the terrible, terrible cold fusion energies, which is why they need so much heat. Next slide. So in conclusion, we need a lot of money to make this work. I mentioned nanobots. That's a lot of money for like research and development for those alone, but also cold cheese, because cheese heats up very quickly. If you donate anything under $100, like, we can't accept that. It's a legal thing. I'm pretty sure we need more money than that. It's also very insulting.
Of course.
I have my Venmo set up. You can get it on the flyer as you go out the door. It's also here. You can Venmo at Ian Abramson, which is a code name we've been using. Yeah.
Well, hello today, everyone. My name is Wilma, and before I get started here with my presentation, I just want to take a moment to say that I'm really glad to be here. I've dedicated the last 12 years of my life to this work, so I'm really excited to talk to you guys about dolphins today. Next slide, please. Thank you. As you can see here, a little known fact about different types of dolphins is that they could have different teeth depending on what part of the world they come from. The dolphin that you see on the right there that has the bigger teeth and a really big smile, they come from the deeper parts of the ocean. We don't see those as often, like in movies and things like that, because they're hiding out. They're smiling with each other. They're having a great time. You can see the one on the left, he's got some sharper teeth there. And you usually don't want to get too close to those. They get angry very easily and are offended by everything. Next slide, please. Thank you. So let's talk about what are the most important body parts of a dolphin. So, they've got that left front fin. If they swish that through the water a little bit, it kind of moves them to the right. They've got a dorsal fin on their back that can stick up out of the water, but I promise you they are not sharks. You might see that. Don't get scared unless you run into the guy with the sharp teeth. Um, there's the lower jaw, which will open and close as they talk to their friends and neighbors. And that's where you'll find some of those various teeth types. We also have the ears. They often aren't very big on a dolphin, but they are there and they can hear everything you're saying, no matter where you are. The other important part of the dolphin are the legs. Um, the legs actually present themselves as two little triangle wigglers at the back. Uh, that is the scientific term, wigglers. Um, and those are important because they're not going anywhere without those babies. So you got to have them. Um, now, of those, which would you guess is the most important of all of those important body parts? The most important of all, again, is those legs, those little wigglers at the back, because they're just not going anywhere without those. Next slide, please. Okay, so the typical breakdown of a dolphin's day. We know they're doing a lot of chatting with their friends because they've got those, some of them have those fun mouths and they smile at each other and they've got those ears to pick up all that sound. They're listening to what you're saying all day and they're talking about it. And that's the big portion there. That's the number one. That's what they're doing most of the day. The darker yellow color, that is where they are reading the news. Um, you would be surprised how much dolphin news there is, but it's really important to their daily lives, and they take it really seriously. The dark blue portion there, that is where they are getting food. Um, it doesn't take up a whole lot of their day. They're really good at doing it. They'd rather be with their friends, chatting and gossiping about you. The small light yellow portion there, that is sleep. They go over to their little sleeping areas. They have to get there again with those really important legs, the wigglers in the back, and then they sleep. So that is basically the gist of a dolphin's day. Next slide, please. Thank you. As you can see, dolphins love otters. They like to tell the otters what you've been up to all day after they've gossiped with their dolphin friends. Um, These two are kissing, so they have shared a lot of gossip over the years. They're very close. These two are just the best of friends. Next slide, please. Now, here's something you do not want to encounter, and that is the famed cow dolphin. They've got a cow head on one side, they've got a dolphin head on the other side. We don't know what meets in the middle because we just can't get anywhere near them. They are too violent. Stay away if you see those. Um, what is okay, and now this is going to be a little confusing because again, there's a dolphin and there's a cow, but they don't have that joined body. And that's what keeps them happy. They're fine being separate and friends in the ocean. Uh, but once they get connected like that, boy, look out. Next slide, please. Okay, now here you can see a human who has surgically added some dolphin legs, little wigglers, to their body, and they have decided to join and live with the dolphins. This is something you can choose to do. It will be awkward knowing that they've been gossiping about you for years. But if you can bring some more gossip to them and show that you're really into it and want to talk to them, they'll eventually let you in. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here you can see kind of the spread of dolphins across the world, where they're living. Um, and you can see those bigger circles that are in like the deeper water. That's where you're going to find those dolphin with those big smiles and lips that we don't see too often. You're going to run into a lot more of the sharp teeth guys in the smaller areas kind of around the Gulf of Mexico there, and of course the absolute center of the United States. Next slide, please. Now, dolphin riding. Um, this is once again, you're going to have to really make friends with these dolphins before they'll let you ride. But once you do, they are quite happy to uh, gather up in races where they will happily have you on their back all day, racing, doing the jumps out of the water, racing with each other. They absolutely love it if you can get them to be friends with you, of course. And like it says right there, it can't be denied. It's just awesome. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so this is showing exactly how powerful those really important dolphin ears are. Like I said, they can hear you wherever you are. And they are listening all the time, except for when they're sleeping. But you can see just how far that cone of sound catching shoots out of their head. It goes almost to that moon right there. So look out. Watch what you're saying about dolphins, because they'll hear you. And if you ever want to ride one or go live with them, you'll want to be nice. Next slide, please. Now, a pink dolphin. Uh, this I'm very sorry you guys had to see this, but it's important to know. Dolphins turn pink like this when they are greatly distressed. So this one has probably heard some human saying something awful about it. He's angry, he's embarrassed, and he's just having a really bad day now. So uh, give this guy a hug if you see him, if he's all pink like that. Next slide, please. Okay, so now, which of the following statements are true about dolphins? The pink dolphin in the previous slide was photoshopped. Flipper's voice was made by an Australian bird called kookaburra and not by a dolphin. Dolphins can sleep with one eye open. The presenter has no clue about dolphins, or E, yes. Um, I can tell you that all of these statements are true. And I'm very sorry that I photoshopped that pink dolphin. I just thought it would look really nice. Um, so if you do see a pink dolphin, let me know because those don't exist as far as I can tell. Next slide, please. And that is my presentation on dolphins. Like I said, I've been working on this, studying, working with dolphins for about 12 years now. So I'm so glad that I got this opportunity to talk to you about it today. Thank you.